Okay, so good day. My name is Orville Baldos, and I'm a graduate student at the Department of Tropical Plant and Soil Sciences. And today I'm going to discuss how to establish Mau Aki-Aki using hydroseeding or using plugs. So Mau Aki-Aki is a coastal sedge that is native to the state of Hawaii. It grows on sandy beaches and rocky outcrops, and it has characteristic fleshy and leathery leaves, and its flowers are ball-shaped. Mau Aki-Aki grows in coastal areas, so it is salt and wind tolerant. They're ideal for revegetation of coastal roadsides, and they're also ideal for revegetation of irrigated median strips and other landscaped areas. There are two options of establishing Mau Aki-Aki. The first one is hydroseeding, and the other one is by plugs. Hydroseeding is the ideal way of establishing Mau Aki-Aki on a large scale, since Mau Aki-Aki seeds are germinable and its seeds are extremely small. Typically, raw seeds are used for vegetation of Mau Aki-Aki, and raw seeds usually consist of crushed up seed heads with the stems and leaves removed. Before establishing or revegetation with Mau Aki-Aki, it's important to prepare the site months prior to planting. We need to flush and kill the weeds at least 3 to 5 times for a period of 6 months. And once the weed seeds or weeds have been killed, we need to clear the site of dried plant material and rocks to help the hydromulch stick to the ground. The next thing to do is to establish a seeding rate for Mau Aki-Aki. The recommended seeding rate for Mau Aki-Aki is about 74 viable seeds per square foot, which equates to about 0.5 pounds of pure live seeds per acre. Since we are using raw seed, it is important to know how much live seed is contained within that weight of raw seed. So we need to do a standard germination test for Mau Aki-Aki. So to do this, we need to weigh 4 samples of 0.5 grams of raw seed and germinate these samples in either petri dishes or clean, clear plastic containers. These containers or petri dishes must be lined with moistened filter paper or paper towels. And once you place the seed or the raw seed into these containers, you need to seal them and place them on an area where it is bright and not facing direct sunlight. To help the seeds germinate, we need to keep the paper towel saturated at all times. After 15 days, seedlings will start to emerge in the samples. So after 15 days, we need to count the number of seeds that are germinated in each sample. So to make it easier for us to count the number of seeds per sample, you can use a handheld counter, and you can assign grids to the petri dishes or the container. Once you calculated the total number of seeds per petri dish, you can calculate the average to get how much pure live seed are contained in each sample. And once you get this average number, you can use that for calculating the amount of raw seed needed for hydroseeding. So in this simple exercise, we are tasked to calculate the average number of seedlings per 0.5 gram seed sample. So you're given here the number of seedlings for samples 1 to 4. And you need to calculate the number of seeds needed or the number of raw seeds needed to hydroseed an acre plot. So first, we need to calculate the average of the number of live viable seeds per gram of raw seed sample that we germinated. So the average for the 4 samples that was mentioned before is about 259.25 live seeds. The next thing to do is to calculate the number of live seeds needed to sow an acre of land. So plugging the answer from the previous equation, we get 3.2 million live seeds per acre. The next thing to do, the third one, is to calculate the weight of raw seed needed to sow 1 acre. And based on the previous answers, you get about 13.71 pounds per acre. So the next thing to do is to calculate the hydromulch rates for hydroseeding. So for Mau Aki-Aki, it is recommended to use paper mulch at a rate of 1,963 pounds per acre and 2 pounds per acre of tackifier. So for this exercise, we need to hydroseed a 5,000 square foot area, and we need to find the amount of paper mulch, tackifier, as well as raw seed per acre needed to cover this particular area. So first, we need to calculate the amount of raw seed to hydroseed 5,000 square foot, a 5,000 square feet area. So plugging the answers that we determined from the previous equations, we get about 1.57 pounds of raw seed. Then the paper mulch, so plugging the recommended rates with the area, we get 225 pounds of paper mulch. And for the tackifier, we get around 0.23 pounds of tackifier. So to summarize, if we hydroseed a 5,000 square foot area, you'll need about 1.57 pounds of raw seed, 225 pounds of paper mulch, and 0.23 pounds of tackifier. So for hydromulching, we can also vary the rates depending on the terrain. So for steeper slopes, we can add more tackifier and mulch. Another advice for preparing the hydromulch is to pre-wet the mulch first before you put it inside the hydromulcher. It's also advisable to add the seed last so as to reduce the damage to the seed. So after hydroseeding, you need to keep the area moist for the first 2 months. Gradually withdraw the water, but don't completely turn off the water. And fertilize the plots 6 months after planting with complete fertilizer at a rate of 312.5 pounds per acre. Establishing Mau Aki-Aki from plugs is ideal if you are establishing seed production areas, as well as if you are revegetating areas that are small, such as planting beds or narrow median strips. To prepare plugs for transplanting, you need to germinate the seeds first. And once the seeds germinated after 2 weeks, you need to transplant the seedlings in multi-cell trays. The medium used for germinating the seeds in trays as well as for transplanting seedlings is a potting mix, which consists of about 60% by volume potting mix and 40% by volume black cinder. After transplanting, you can fertilize the plugs with complete fertilizer at a rate of 312.5 pounds per acre. Grow the plugs for at least 3 months in under irrigated and full sun conditions. And after 3 months, they are ready for transplanting. So when you get ready for transplanting the plugs, it is important to do site preparation. So you need to flush and kill the weeds at least 3 times for 6 to 9 months prior to planting. You need to clear trash, stones, and living weeds. When planting, use a digging bar. And the recommended spacing for planting is about 4 to 6 inches on center. So here we have a sample problem wherein you need to calculate the amount of plugs needed to cover a 5,000 square foot area. We also have a recommended spacing of 4 inches on center over here. So plugging in the recommended spacing with the area, you get 45,000 plants. So after transplanting the plugs, we need to spray the area over the top with Ronstar or Surfland at a rate of 58 ounces per acre. You can also fertilize the area with 312.5 pounds per acre of complete fertilizer. Immediately after spraying the herbicides and fertilizing, we need to maintain overhead irrigation to wash off the pre-emergence herbicides on the foliage of the plugs. Irrigation also helps to activate the pre-emergence herbicides on the soil. For the next month, you need to keep the plugs moist with overhead irrigation. After 1 month of moist conditions, you can gradually withdraw the water, but do not completely turn the water off. To control weeds, you can add mulch as long as the mulch is weed-free. So for managing weeds in planted areas, for newly transplanted plugs, we can use an over-the-top spray of Ronstar at 3.6 pounds per acre, or Surflan at the rate of 58 pounds per acre. For established plantings like hydroseeded Mao Aki-Aki, which is about 2 to 3 months after hydroseeding, and transplanted plugs, we can spray Fusilade Turf and Ornamental at a rate of 24 ounces per acre to control grasses. For broadleafs, for control of broadleafs, except for spurges, we can spray Milestone VM over the top at the rate of 7 ounces per acre. And we can also spot spray for sedges using Certainty at the rate of 1 dry ounce per acre. This concludes the establishment procedures for Mao Aki-Aki. If you have any questions, you can email me at obaldos@hawaii.edu. Thank you.